Hello and welcome to a talk with the ladies of Burmen. I'm Latanya Burton. This is my partner.
Renee Amin.
And in honor of Father's Day, we want to give you some information regarding father's rights. But before we start our conversation, we do want you to understand that our conversation does not create an attorney-client relationship. Anything that we say to you today, I would always advise you to call an attorney, establish a relationship, and get legal advice. However, you are welcome to call the ladies of Burmen. Our number is 224-637-8872. Renee, regarding father's rights, what are some of the misconceptions and things that you've seen practicing family law in these different counties of Illinois that will cause a father to be frustrated and not want to continue in the process?
Latanya, we deal with this a lot. One of the misconceptions, and we've said this before, you and I, is that fathers don't want their children, or that fathers, are less superior, I guess, than mothers. And we know that's not true. From our practice, we know that both parents are needed to raise a child. But some of the things that can frustrate a dad is the ability to be able to get into court to fight for their child. And let me explain what I mean by that. So let's say they walk into an attorney's office and they have to come up with a huge retainer, right? Anywhere between, I don't know, maybe $3,000 to $5,000. What they usually don't understand is, unlike a criminal case where there's one flat fee that'll cover everything, family law cases don't. There's an hourly rate that is associated after that retainer is used up. So one of the sayings that you and I have is that it costs to be angry. Mm-hmm. And we know that it does, because every time you call your attorney, that's a phone call. That's a cost. Every time you want a motion ran because your baby didn't have on the proper sneakers, or if they had on sweatpants, or they had on sweatpants and dress shoes, because believe it or not, that happens sometimes. Mm-hmm. And you're frustrated and you want us to go to court. Well, we don't mind, but then the bill goes up. And so that oftentimes will leave fathers feeling frustrated, because now they've got to pay child support and they're paying for an attorney, and then all of the other things that life has to offer that they have to cover. And so they just get frustrated and they quit, So that's some of the misconceptions and some of the frustrations that we see. Latanya, can you tell us some of the maybe the no-nos that fathers shouldn't be doing?
Sure. Renee brought up the point of child support. So we would advise that once you and your significant other have a child, that you put yourself on child support, meaning you go to court, you and your significant other, you all can do it amicably together, decide how much you want to pay, how much he pay or she pays, whoever is the person paying the child support, and have an order written. Because if you do not, the time that you've bought gifts, that does not count as child support. If you've given that person money, it could be $200 every 2 weeks. If it is not in an order and recognized as child support, it's not child support. You basically just gave gifts. This prevents later on in the future you and your significant other, or the mother or father of your child, getting upset and then deciding to go to court when the child is 3 and the other person has paid many fees and different things from birth to 3. The court saying, no, you have to pay back child support because you didn't cover the child from 0 to 3. And you're thinking, I paid money, I bought clothes, I bought diapers, I bought formula. That does not count. It has to be recognized child support. So even if you all are very on good terms, it is the best practice to get into court and have an order for child support. And you and your significant other, if you do it amicably where you both agree on it, can set what that amount should be, how much it should be, and even set visitation. And I know some people feel, well, we work out, we're friends, and we don't want the court involved. The problem becomes usually if the other person is in a new relationship, or if the spouse or the other person thinks someone has more money, then it becomes a problem, and then buys a house, different things, and you think the person has more money than they do. To alleviate those issues, it's best to do it early. Renee, you mentioned about a retainer. Retainer, is that just you pay a fee, let's say of $5,000, and while the case is progressing, the attorneys bill that retainer.
Yes.
The problem is, as you were saying, at some point that retainer runs out because
yes.
every time you go to court, you're billed. Every time you have a phone call, you're billed. Copy a sheet of paper, you're billed. And once that runs out, most attorneys turn into an hourly rate
Yes.
where the person is billed monthly.
Yes.
So these fees can go up to
Quickly.
$60,000, $20,000. That's why we want to give this information so that you're aware of how the system works, how most attorneys bill in family law cases. And we just want to let fathers know that we see the work you do. We believe that you are extremely valuable to raising a child and important in a child's life. And don't give up your fight because you are important. And Burmen, we fight for you.